It's almost finished loading. It's about to start. Okay. All right, y'all. So we're live, and this is the Spartan Roundtable Dining Edition. And I'm Paige Gammon. I'm the Secretary of Business Affairs for SGA, and I'll let everybody else go around and introduce themselves.
Hi there. Go ahead.
Sorry. Hey everyone, I'm Irving, the Secretary of Student Affairs for SGA.
Hi everyone, my name's Tiana Pyatt. I serve as the Current Concerns Chairwoman and an at-large senator for the SGA.
All right, hey everybody. Sorry about that. But hey everybody, I'm James Taylor and I'm the Bryan School of Business Senator for SGA.
I'll go. Hi, I'm Shannon Clegg. I'm the Senior Director of Auxiliary Services. So I am the contract liaison for dining and some of the other auxiliaries on campus.
I'm Danny Dawkins. I'm the Resident District Manager, oversight of all Spartan dining.
I'm Amy Langford. I am the Director of Resident Operations for Spartan Dining.
And I'm Ryan Murray. I am the Marketing Director for Spartan Dining.
And I don't know if Scott will chime in, but I asked Scott to sit in also. Scott is our Associate Vice Chancellor for Campus Enterprises and Real Estate.
All right, y'all. So we're going to get started with the first set of questions. And these set of questions pertain to COVID-19 and then how dining is going about it. So the first question is, what measures are you all taking to ensure students are safe while going from meal station to station?
So thank you, Paige. That's one of the things that we worked on all summer long because it's such an important piece of being able to come back safely. We worked hand in hand with Guilford County representatives through the entire process. So a lot of the things that we take, and it actually started off with a variety of things with our associates. It was the very first thing. Is all of our associates have a wellness check that they have to come in, they have to have their temperatures taken. So so for our associates, being able to come in and make sure that they're safe coming in is really the foundation of our program, making sure that one, they're safe, but also making sure that we're safe for the others. Working with Guilford County, we were able to work with them on reduction of seating. We normally have over 1,000 seats. Our occupancy was down to 650, cut in half, and then we've taken it down a little lower than that, just to make sure we're maintaining that 6-foot distance, and then separation between each one of the tables, but also not just for that, but also for our associates. So our associates have dots on the floor that also speak to social distancing as well. As far as each and every one of the meal periods, every 30 minutes, our staff changes out our utensils to make sure that, once again, we're being as careful as we possibly can. All of our associates wear masks from the time they get onto campus and going through to their locations. Of course, one of the other pieces of this is cleaning and sanitizing. We added additional sanitizers for each one of the neighborhoods, which allowed for us to be able to wipe down and clean. And many of our beverage stations have, each one of our beverage stations has a dedicated person to wipe it down the beverage station every 30 minutes. And these are all guidelines really we work directly for with the Guilford County Health Department.
Thank you so much for that. So you basically answered our second question. The third question would be, can you explain the Out of Here program and how can students use this option?
Absolutely. So Out of Here started off as a conversation last year with SGA. We started talking about Spartan to go and the to go option. So this was pre-COVID discussion. With COVID and many of the restrictions and reduced occupancies, we created the Out of Here program so that students that had some challenge or had some concerns about any social distancing would have the ability to be able to go in and get a full and complete meal utilizing their meal plan and their meal swipes. We also offer the OZI program, which is a reusable container. And this just works in concert with your dining program. So at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the semester, we were concerned about some occupancy. So we sort of separated it, and that was for occupancy challenges. But we were able to bring everything up combined. Out of here is here to stay. It's one of those things that our students have been very vocal about how much they enjoy it. I've received several positive feedbacks about some insecurities about being in the space, so their ability to do it. So it's been a fantastic piece.
Thank you. So our fourth question is, we've recently received some complaints from students worrying about space in the CAF and how it may interfere with COVID-19 guidelines. How are you all planning to address that?
So one of the things that we did, and if you'll give me a moment and you can allow me to take the screen, I can share with you some information. But before I do that, I want to talk to you about SendSource. We didn't want to have someone sitting at the door clicking people in from an occupancy standpoint. There's technology out there, and we did that by introducing SendSource, and it's available online on our dining campus website, so you can go straight to see how many people are actually in the location. At the same time, you can also use your UNCG app as well to be able to find it. And if you can give me access, I can share some information because it gives a lot of great detail on traffic patterns and a heat map. So if you can share with me that, I can allow you to see it.
Now, I think you have it now if you check. Yeah.
Perfect. So what you're seeing here on this screen, is the occupancy of Fountain View since August the 11th. And how we tracked this is, so for example, we have three.
I think the screen kind of condensed the picture.
We're only seeing a sliver.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Is that much better? Okay.
Yeah.
So what the system allows us to be able to do is once again track the number of guests that are actually in the location. But it also gives us some great data and some analytics as to any kind of potential usage of the space over and above our occupancy levels. And we've never hit over our occupancy level since we began the beginning of the school year. So in this, you'll see that our pre-COVID occupancy was 1,300. Our max capacity is at 50% at 650. In those, we only had our lowest participation was 12% of our number, which was 75 people at one time. And then our highest was 389. So as you can see, we never at any given time actually exceeded that number. And only on these pink dates did we actually get to sort of our higher levels. We track this on a regular basis. And this technology has a lot of additional opportunities on being able to do some assist us in some of the mapping of the dining services area. So it's just a great resource. So, but this is available. We look at this on a regular basis just to keep an eye on it.
And we also share that information with the committees that are working with the COVID response teams on campus. So they're aware as well, because they're always asking the question, how are we doing? Are we fine? And folks, we're doing really well up there. So.
Thank you. And I had a follow-up question to that. Is there ever going to be some kind of like communication to that, like to students, like they would be able to access that at a certain point or something?
So access to the amount of the file that's here?
Yeah.
There hasn't been any discussion on it, but I'm not necessarily sure that there's no reason why we couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think what we could do, Paige, would be to give a report maybe at the end of the semester, which will be in November, and we can share that with the emergency management team, which is working with COVID, of which student affairs is a huge part of that, with the dean of students and all. And I think that might be a good recap. I give that information weekly. We meet every Wednesday and Fridays, so they know on a weekly basis. But I like that idea, and we'll be certain to do that. So they'll have that and can share it with SGA at that point.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Thank you so
for the
much.
suggestion.
No problem. So my next question is dining open to adding outdoor seating options besides the balcony locations that we already have?
We are investigating some of those areas around campus for outside seating. The initial discussions on it became some challenges in the how Guilford County would anticipate us being able to oversee those spaces and making sure that we have it appropriately staffed for cleaning and sanitizing. But yes, we are investigating that as a potential, even beyond COVID. It's just a great opportunity. North Carolina is a great place to be outside.
Thank you. And so the last question is, what are the guidelines regarding dining employees contracting COVID-19? And will the CAF remain open? And if the CAF is closed, what are the options that will be available to students?
So this is probably one of the questions I look forward to answering more than any, is that we put some serious thought into this because inevitably we have to think of best case scenario and ultimately worst case scenario. So we were very intentional in our plan for this year. So the answer to your question is that all of our staff, including myself, follow the same guidelines as far as the university is concerned. So if one of our members gets sick or has a COVID symptom, they have to go through the same system as any other contractor that's here on campus. So we follow the same guidelines as far as the university is concerned. So in the off chance that happened, one of the things that we've done is to be very intentional in our management structure. So and with Fountain View being such a crucial part of the dining experience across campus, we made an early decision to separate our management team. So our management team, we have a management team that is a Fountain View management team, and we have a Elliott University Center team. Those teams cannot intermingle with each other. So if on the off chance something does happen in Fountain View, the entire the entire EUC management and hourly associates would shift from EUC and come over to Fountain View. Now, there's an even more issue. Say hypothetically, what happens is that we lose both the EUC and Fountain View, and we really don't have it. Well, we've secured on campus about 4,000 meals where we can be able to prepare salads, sandwiches, boxes to go for in the event that we have a day that we have to feed the entire campus a meal service through lunch and dinner. And we also partner with Jack and Olive. So if you've ever I've gone into the convenience stores, our Jack and Olive program with all the grab and go, they would be able to get us product out here within 24 hours. So the amount of food that we keep on hand is really just to make sure that we have enough time to give them time to come in. So we've thought about it at 3 different levels and absolute worst level. So, and we're constantly looking at how we manage that as we hear more as far as from the CDC and Guilford County.
Thank you so much for that. Like, that was really impressive. I didn't know that at all. I think everybody else was impressed too. So that concludes our COVID-19 questions. So Irving's going to take it away with the meal plan questions.
Okay, so the first question is, can you explain the purpose for the structure of the meal plans and why are freshmen required to have the Spartan Unlimited or Spiral 15?
Okay, I'm going to take that one, Irving. So it's been very important for us at UNCG to establish a minimum standard of living among the students who choose to live on campus. And requiring a meal plan of all our residential students ensures that in the equation, this makes up a student's success and experience. Food is a constant, it's not a variable. So UNCG is consciously pursuing above average quality in our food and our dining facilities. Now, if you pay attention to the meal plans that are offered out there and who's eligible for them, you'll kind of see a reflection of our food philosophy. Residents of the traditional residence halls are then only eligible for full board plans. So that's enough meals to cover all the meal periods that we serve, as well as some amount of flex, okay? And that's as a freshman. Then as they become upperclassmen, they're increasingly eligible for plans that require better management and responsibility on their part. So it's kind of like getting that, checking account moving forward a little bit more. Then as they become upperclassmen, I said that they're eligible for plans that require better management and responsibility. As they move into the apartment, so if they're apartment dwellers, Tower Village, Spring Garden, they're eligible for any of our meal plans out there, from the all flex plans, which range from the 150 up to the 1,050 per semester, to full board. And these students in the apartments, now they have access to kitchen facilities, in their apartments and suites, and they're upperclassmen, and so therefore they're afforded the greatest number of choices and flexibility. So as you move from halls with the amenities and such, then your meal plans kind of go along with that.
Thank you. The next question you kind of answered.
Yep.
I'm going to move on to the third question.
Okay, sure.
Will unused meal swipes roll over into the spring semester?
So no, your meal swipes from the fall don't move over to the spring. However, any unused flex, if they have the flex plan, will move over. Okay.
And the last question in this section is, will the option to use flex for accessing the CAF be continued in future studies?
Yeah. So obviously, as we've talked about here, because of COVID, we obviously did not open Fountain View, the CAF, as we traditionally would have. So because of that, doing that, we wanted to make sure that we had adequate seating capacity upstairs. That's why we started the semester off with only allowing the board swipes to happen at that time. Now that through SendSource and all, we've seen what our occupancy is. We know we've got plenty of room for everybody. We opened it back up to all of the flex plans, as well as Spartan Cash and that. And then of course, all of those folks can also, anybody with any tender can use out of here. So yes, as long as we stay at this level with occupancy, then we anticipate moving forward as we are now. So, does that answer that for you?
Yes.
All right.
I really appreciate. Sorry about that. I really appreciate the responses. So now we're going to move into our dining options section. This is probably going to be our most lengthy section because we got a lot of feedback on this. So first off, can you explain what some students have explained that there aren't enough daily options in the CAF? Like, for example, a lot of students complain every day there's pizza, every day there's pasta. They're kind of eating the same thing. So do you have any efforts to diversify the menu in the future?
Absolutely, and we appreciate all the feedback that comes from our students and our guests, and we receive our feedback from our Down on Campus website. We get it from Text to Solve. We take it directly from students that speak to us right at the right on the floor of Fountain View. Every semester, we're going through and looking at the menu. So the menus are an ever evolving to what the tastes are of not only the season, but also our clientele. What we look for is that if there's any requests, just let us know through that feedback. But every year, every semester, we always go through and make sure that we've adjusted for the taste levels and anything that's new going on. So absolutely.
All right, appreciate that. All right, the next question is, there have been certain times where the online CAF menu isn't synced with what's currently being offered. Are there plans to fix this, and have you noticed this problem?
So our menu that goes through our Down on Campus website, it filters through what we call Webtrition, sort of a back end, and shows all the different menus and allows for the calorie counts and the nutritional information. There have been times where a product was either shorted or did not get changed on the menu quickly enough. It should be a rarity, but it's an exception, not the rule. But if there is something that's there, we try to fix it as quickly as possible. Sometimes, and it's unfortunate, we would get a run on fried chicken on Fried Chicken Wednesday towards the end of it, and we make a slight adjustment to it. But yes, we are aware that sometimes that does happen, but we try to make sure that we adjust that as appropriately as we can.
All right, appreciate the feedback. Next question is, are there going to be plans to extend the hours of dining options on campus? So a lot of students have been complaining that a lot of our restaurants close like too early, and a lot of students don't have transportation, so the only place they eat is on campus, and at night they really don't have like anywhere to eat. So are there any plans to extend the hours?
Absolutely. We're constantly looking at hours. A lot of our hours of operation really going on trend with what's going on, as you see in a lot of restaurants. I mean, you see like Wendy's closing at 8:30 in the evening, which would typically be 10 or 11 o'clock at night. We have a significant reduction in the number of people that are on campus right now. And as we look at where the needs are on campus as far as the dining services needs, as long as we can have the guests coming in, we will be constantly looking at the adjustments. And that also goes both ways. As we have opportunities, we look at our business and we have some challenges. For example, and just a brief example, Taco Bell is one of them. Taco Bell generally does a significant amount of business, but currently it's doing about $300 to $400 a night, which is not optimal. And we want to make sure that we're able to operate even at a break-even point. But each one of the days we're really losing money every single day that we're actually open. We're currently staying open, but we're always looking at adjustment of hours. Now, in the spring, as we see more and more people in, we will make those adjustments. No different as we beginning the school year. We started out with a set of hours, but we looked at what our guest counts were and what our guests were looking for, and we made adjustments. But the short answer is yes, we will constantly be.
And if I could chime in, James, I want to make sure you guys all understand this. You may not understand completely how dining operations works on our campus, and so it's a self-sustaining auxiliary enterprise within us, much like housing is. So they get board plans. Students come live in housing. We get board plans. Okay, that is income into dining. Guests come into any of the other retail locations. That's money into them. Much like if you went into Wendy's or McDonald's or someplace. So we rely on that income to sustain them, right? So much it means they don't receive any tuition, state appropriation fees. It's totally self-sustaining. Which means we operate on a bottom line, right? And, we have to have revenue to generate, goes through meal plan sales and such. So our appetite for the dining program is really that we must provide to be in line with our budget so that we're able to support it. And that's what he's talking about with Taco Bell and some of these others. Currently we're down about 1,600 students or so in housing. And obviously, I know if you've walked across campus, you're not seeing many commuter students or faculty and staff on campus. There's a lot of virtual and online. That all has a major impact with what we're doing right now. So as Danny said, as we see this increase some, then hopefully we'll be able to look at addressing those. But right now we're trying to make this, be a sustainable operation for the bottom line there. And hopefully we can get back to where we all want to be.
All right, thank you. Really appreciate the clarification.
Yeah.
All right, the next question is, as you may know, the Taco Bell location is currently closed. So will there be anything put in place of Taco Bell, or will it be reopened in the future?
So there will be something going into that space. We have not made a final decision of what's going into that space. We've got some great ideas that I really think the student body and the campus community will really gather around. We're not at a point to give a final note what that's going to be, but the answer to that is yes, something is going to go back in. And just to make sure everyone's aware, Taco Bell has been renamed to Happy Bowl. So many of the things that you're looking for in that Taco Bell space is actually over in Happy Bowl, and they do a fantastic job. They're a great partner on campus. So if you haven't been there, please go and enjoy. Tell Ling and Ken I said hello.
All right, appreciate it. Next question. Can you discuss the choices that you've made to create some of the new dining locations, such as Bojangles Express and the EUC, Happy Bowl, and et cetera?
So I think there's going to be two things. We talk about Happy Bowl. I want to talk about Happy Bowl. I'll talk about Happy Bowl first. So the restaurants that we have over in Spartan Village are Flex partners. They're individual businesses. They are individual owners. They are not a part of Spartan Dining as far as the program is concerned. They're small business owners. So they're one of they're looking for is a larger space. The Den or the Glenwood Diner space provided that, and they've been very successful in that location. So we're constantly looking at what makes the most sense for our current campus community and how we can better improve that. So as far as like the Bojangles Express, a lot of it is getting some best practices from other universities and things that may also be something that students can look forward and enjoy. Bojangles Express was one of those. It came up as a discussion, and I said, you know what? Let's have a conversation with Bojangles and see if it's something that will work out. And even though, and much like we were talking earlier about the adjustment of hours of operations, we're looking at it the same way. It's how do we drive sales? So it's not all about reducing hours of operations. It's about creating opportunities for our guest experience. And that's where the genesis of Bojangles Express came from. It's been very successful. We're actually going to be piling it out, and you should see it either tomorrow or first of next week. We're going to also start doing soft serve ice cream out of Burger 336. It's going to allow for ice cream. It's going to have a cookie sandwich, and it's going to have a brownie ice cream. So once again, even though we're slow and that doesn't mean we haven't stopped trying to find ways to make our program different and keep some excitement in it.
All right, really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. All right, so early this year, Dining Services put out a survey with multiple questions pertaining to dining options, like new restaurants and things in that such. So how has Dining Services taken that survey into consideration so far?
So that goes into sort of the discussions we were talking earlier about that Taco Bell space and then other locations on campus. And that's what really fuels us, because it's extremely important for us. This is not our dining program. This is your dining program. So which is why we use those surveys to be able to say, what's driving it? What are you looking for? Because what we may want may not necessarily be what our campus population is looking for. So we utilize that to make those decisions. So we don't make those in a vacuum. As I said, we've got some great plans that are really coming to fruition over the next couple months. So we should be able to give you some further details. But right now we don't have a final decision on all those spaces. But I think you're going to be really happy when you see some of these great new options that we're going to have.
All right, thank you. And the final question is an issue that many students have taken issue with. So why are some students being charged extra for drinks at Bojangles due to the fountain drinks being inactive at the time?
So I'm glad you said some, because it's not our policy. And it's actually a policy that we started at the beginning of the school year, that all the combo meals would be provided a bottled beverage, not in absence of the fountain machine. So when I saw this question, I was like, wait a minute, let me go back and look at it. And I spoke to Denisha Douglas, who oversees our Bojangles program. She confirmed that is the case, that we do not allow that. And then she went over in the afternoon and found one of the associates actually did it. So she was able to catch that person, educate them to make sure that they know that they're not supposed to do that, gave a refund to 2 of those students that were actually there. And then if someone has a receipt or has an issue, please have them come see me. I'm glad to give them a refund of that.
I really appreciate all the responses and the clarification.
So these next couple of questions fall under 4 different categories. So the first one is pertaining specifically to dining staff. Students have asked, how are you all addressing complaints about negative service experiences at UNCG dining locations? For example, poor customer service.
That's just not acceptable. So whenever we get any of these complaints, whether they come through our Dine on Campus website, whether it comes through our text to solve, or whether it's just a guest that's come to us, one of our members of management, we investigate that and we speak to the associates specifically. Our expectation of our team is to give a great experience to our dining guests. And so any of those incidents we've gone through and spoken to each one of the associates and also spoken to the guests apologetic. That is not our campus culture, and we want to make sure that we provide a great dining services. But I just continue to say, if you have a bad experience, please see the manager that's on duty and share it with us, and we'll address it expeditiously.
The next two questions are about food insecurity. So what is the CAF doing to help address students that are dealing with food insecurity?
So last year, we started off a program. It was with the Dean of Students and Safe Meals. So we actually had it set up where students were able to donate a meal. And we'll ultimately end up going back to that and doing that again. Felt it wasn't really the right time given the challenges as far as the beginning of the school year. But so students that have any kind of food insecurities, we have the ability to go through the Dean of Students for safe meals. And the great part about it is they're able to go right onto their Spartan card. So when they come in, there's no coupon or nothing that sort of makes it different. You go in just like anybody else does. So that's a great program that we have, and we will continue to do that.
Yeah, so just so you know, last year, the amount of swipes that were collected was about 1,214. And so that was an awesome bank of swipes to go over to the Dean of Students to use.
Is dining services tied into any nonprofit foundations?
Yeah, the Food Recovery Network is one of them, and then Greensboro Urban Ministries we work hand in hand with right now. But we also in the past working with Spartan Open Pantry in the past. But if we have an opportunity to be able to work with any groups, we're excited to do so.
The next category is what was promised versus what was delivered. So students have asked, why wasn't the to-go option within the CAF implemented as quickly as you all first stated it would be?
So that's a great question. And I think we alluded to it earlier in the conversation, is that the intention was the to-go program to start out at the beginning of the school year. And that was the discussion we were at last year. The challenge of it became as COVID came in, we wanted to make sure that our occupancy levels, much like the phases of North Carolina, is that we had a phased-in approach that allowed to make sure that one, we never were over in occupancy. We never had any challenge as far as the social distancing is in the resident dining program. So we started it off downstairs. So that would give students still the opportunity to have a to-go meal. And then ultimately, as sort of the shift went on campus and we were able to use the data from the Censource, we were able to, one, make that move back upstairs. And ultimately, that's where it's going to be moving forward. That's when we spoke last year, it was a resounding excitement for being able to do to go, and it's been successful. And I've had a few comments come back and just really appreciate it.
The next question is, what is the current situation with the new full-service Starbucks location?
We're currently looking at all options in that location. And then as far as the Starbucks is concerned, that is on hold and not moving forward at this point. And we're looking at options in each one of our dining locations. Once again, that's not, none of that is finalized at this point. So, but at this point, we're moving forward, moving beyond Starbucks.
And next question. Are there any plans to bring back Spartan late night?
Absolutely. So what we're going to be looking for is an opportunity to, when the students need us and would like to have dining programs, we want to be able to provide that. So When we did offer Spartan late night, we actually didn't get very many people coming in. We would get anywhere between 10 and 17 people over that time frame. And as much as it's a really nice thing to do, if we don't have people coming, that becomes the challenge. So we will always relook at it and evaluate it. But but always take a look at it. Yep.
The next category is about post-COVID plans. So are you all willing to sustain the new practices that have been adapted throughout the pandemic? And what would this look like?
I think, so the first thing is I think we've learned a lot in this process, not just about COVID, but just an opportunity to find new ways. I think it's really going to be driven by the students and what the students are looking for in their experience. We went from a 100% location that was self-serve to an all-served program. So in some cases, it eliminated some of the choices and the amounts that you wanted to be able to have, or if you wanted to dump a bunch of it, we don't say no. So we're going to constantly be looking at what our guests are looking for and what that experience is and making that evaluation.
Just to say, I really like how you have in the EUC, the little stickers that tell you if the table's dirty or clean. I think that's something that should definitely stay.
You know what? That's been one of those things that's been really good. I think that it does two things. One, it ensures that you have a space. It's at EUC and it's at Fountain View. It is actually in the lower level of Fountain View as well. We have a few tables. I think it does two things for us. One, it actually is a great thing for our guests to know that they have a clean table. And the second thing is that our staff knows which ones to clean. Because what happens is that if they're constantly just wiping down tables, they can't be very efficient with it. So this allows them to be able to do that. But yeah, that's one of those things I think we may try a little different in what that looks like. That was pretty much a quick, you know what? I've been to a Brazilian restaurant. I think red green is the way to go. So ultimately, it's a great idea, and I think we're going to go back in. We will go back in and sort of modify it to a point that makes it look a little bit more polished. But yes, I think that's one of those things that could go. Excuse me. And thank you for that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was saying thank you for that. That's one of those, it was a best practice that some of our other colleagues and universities they took from us, and they're using it in their location. So it was a best practice here. So, yes, Paige, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I wanted to leave this time open for anybody to ask any questions, any more discussion points. If y'all had any questions for us, like being an SGA and how we can work with you all in the future, this is the time. So
I just want to first of all say thank you. More so than anything else, getting your feedback is so important, and you are the right on the pulse of what our students are looking for. Especially during this time frame, we don't necessarily have the same connectivity. This is a wonderful venue, and we really appreciate all of what you're doing to help provide some of that feedback to it. I think part of it for me is there something else that we can do? Is there something else that's out there that if, whether it be a concept, a type of food, or a program that you'd like to see, what would it be? And maybe I have a few tricks up my sleeve.
I'll definitely leave the avenue of communication open for SGA and Spartan Dining open, especially when it comes to promotion and letting students know about the things that you all have. Because a lot of students were actually interested in the survey that we had about the Aussie containers, but they just didn't know about them. So that's just another example of how we need to make sure that we're relaying information to students and making sure that it's on social media and around campus and other platforms.
I'm glad I have Ryan on the call right now because he's just probably writing stuff up and he's like, I'm on it. I'm on it. I like it.
Expect an email in the morning, Paige.
We really do appreciate everything that you guys do, and thank you for being communicators and influencers back out on campus. I think that you've had an opportunity to hear some things, and we've had an opportunity to share. And as we all have seen and learned through COVID, and I know you all have with your classes, this has been a learning experience for everyone, and it makes things change, not even on a daily basis, but almost on a momentary basis. Your classes, one minute you're face to face, the next minute you're hybrid, the next minute you're virtual, and it's the same thing in our environment. We start with one thing. We started plans, at the end of the semester when you all were having to leave, and we started working through things, and things continued to change. So while this wasn't the dining program we all wanted to start the semester with, it's not what we necessarily wanted for you all and your experience. It was the one that we could come in with and afford. And that kind of ties back to how I was explaining auxiliaries and what we can do, So we're putting our best foot forward out there for you all. We appreciate the comments, and we'll constantly take them and constantly work to give you a better product and a better service. You've got a great dining team sitting here before you, and just thank you. You can never give us too much information and feedback, okay? Because we need that. So thank you all very much for everything you do.
All right, one thing I just want to say, I saw the sad face. So just so you know, like I said, we have some tricks up our sleeve. So we've got some really good stuff, really good options that when they come to fruition, that frown is going to turn upside down the other way.
Thank you.
I just wanted to echo Ms. Shannon's sentiments. Thank you all so much for participating and hearing out what students have to say about dining, and then you all giving us the appropriate resources and answers to answer their questions. Really appreciate it. And this won't be the last time that you all are hearing from us, or that we'll do something like this. We'll try to keep it up as much as we can. So thank you.
Yeah, we look forward to it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye now.